to the point of what he's talking about with Libya. Should we be involved? Should we not be involved? I would say, that whole stat we did with how many military bases we have versus China around the world. You know how many military bases U.S. has around the world versus how many China has? Do you know?
Take a guess.
I don't want you to say because you know. Do you know what the number is?
90.
How many U.S. has worldwide versus China? How many do you think China has?
I don't think 5.
How many do you think U.S. has?
Thousands.
Okay. U.S. has 800 military bases worldwide. China has 1. And it's by the, what do you call
Djibouti, baby.
The Djibouti by...
Suez Canal?
What do they call that? Suez Canal, but there's how oil, that whole section is what they have. But they have 1 military base. U.S. has 800.
We have 30,000
the Horn of the
soldiers.
Tip of Africa, the northern part of...
Yeah, that's right,
exactly.
that's right,
Djibouti,
yes.
Yeah, not the Suez Canal.
30,000 soldiers in Korea, 30,000 soldiers
Camp
in
Casey is one of them, yeah.
Japan, 40,000 in Germany. Didn't we win those wars? Why are we still there? South Korea is rich. It could defend itself from North Korea.
We might find out this weekend why there are some in Europe.
With NATO
Why?
and
How
Russia,
does
you're
that
talking about.
play out?
We've mobilized a ton of the Navy there, but I don't think anything happens.
And
There
it's
are
terrible.
there's
So
massive amounts of the Navy headed straight there.
And we're going to go to war over Ukraine?
Doesn't sound like it. Somebody was not, well, either somebody wasn't briefed or somebody gaffed at the podium a few nights
John,
ago.
what should we be involved in? What should we not be involved in? Should we be involved in anything?
Direct threats to the United States.
How about direct threats to allies of the United States?
Well, we have to because we signed the NATO treaty.
So then,
but these treaties, which sound wonderful, we're going to have a safer world, it means we're obligated to go to war for people we may no longer like.
How do you mean by no longer like?
Maybe you sign the treaty when one government's in power and it totally changes. Yeah. But once government does something, it never undoes it. Back
to your original question about direct threats, or your point about direct threats of the United States, wholeheartedly agree. Look what happened in 9/11. That was a direct threat. Next thing you know, we'd end up in Afghanistan for 20 years. Longest war we've ever been in, and that's been a disaster when they pulled out a little premature. But at what point is that direct threat just continue and continue and continue and continue to the point where it just makes no sense to be there?
Well, part of the threat continues because they hate having our troops walking down their street. How would you feel if some Chinese soldier in uniform is patrolling your neighborhood?
Would hate it, of course.
Right.
But wait a minute.
Want to kill him.
But wait a minute. That's not always true. It's not always true. I'm sorry, I disagree. That's not always true because there are many countries who feel safer with seeing our troops walking around than their own troops walking around because
Tyler,
there is that abuse.
Tyler, had we maintained a presence in Libya, do you think that this would have degraded to the extent that it has?
No, I don't think it would have. But to the point, I think when you're the largest superpower in the world and the number one superpower in the world, it is your job to play police officer, to keep people in check and to keep a sort of world order. I mean, and let's not forget, that's what these military people sign up for, is to maintain peace and essentially save the world. I mean, that's what they sign up for.
I agree with you, and I agree with John. This is the part. We're going to call today's show the contradiction show.
A sea of contradictions. All contradictions.
People are like...
Well, and at what point does a non-direct threat become a direct threat? So Russia moves into Ukraine. All right, it's not a direct threat. Well, what if they keep moving and advancing and eventually move into all of Europe? Then does it become a direct threat? At what point do these threats switch to where it's on our radar?
Yeah, I mean, back in 1938, they were like, 1939, they're like, okay, all right, Germany, you can have Czechoslovakia, but you better stop there. No Poland for you. And Britain had to go it alone, but they were like, okay, we'll let you absorb one little country. But when you give a little inch, you never know how these things are going to progress. And there's something to be said for China watching very closely. I sent you an article last night. There's something to be said for watching very closely to whether or not, if Putin does something, is this going to be seen as an opportunity for Xi Jinping to do something with Taiwan? Bingo. And to have a coordinated effort. Look, Putin and Xi Jinping don't like each other. They're not like hanging out on the weekends.
You don't think that they're
not buddies? No, they're
all.
two egomaniacs. But that being said, if you're talking about kicking a country when it's down or taking advantage of a point of vulnerability, then why wouldn't you do it at the same time?
Would you say that Putin and Xi, or even China and Russia, are more closer to allies or foes?
I would say that their interests are aligned.
Right.
You're saying who? China and Russia?
China and Russia
They're
are
neighbors.
close.
They have to get along.
Yeah.
Economically, their
get along.
Kind of
interests
like
are aligned.
U.S. and Mexico,
Yeah,
U.S.
but
and Canada.
let me ask you, who do you think they hate more? Do you think Russia hates America more or China more?
Oh, America by
Okay,
far.
so China, you think China hates Russia more? or
America.
Okay, so that's
Not even
they have a
close.
common
Exactly.
enemy, right? That part.
The enemy of my enemy
And
is
most
my
people
friend,
on,
right?
on mainland China believe exactly what they've been told their entire lives, and
Yeah.
that's that Taiwan is legally part of China.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.